Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Rahmatun lil alameen. Abil Qasim Muhammad. وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. روحي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء. يا غريب يا شهيد يا مظلوم بأرض كربلاء. ثم السلام عليكم يا أهل الأزهر الحسين مظلوم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's once again the time that we learn to spend together in reflection on our own selves as much as on the sources of our religion, so that we can begin to improve and appreciate even better what is expected of us. The topic is, and we are really developing something, and you will be surprised that this is what I have introduced also in Tehran in the last 4 years. In the last 4 years that I have been in Tehran, in Mahmudiyya, which is usually not a religious part of Tehran. It is known for its cynicism and lukewarm faith. How to make religion attractive in the modern times is a big challenge for anyone who speaks in the community and anywhere else. While the program in religious studies are growing faster in the universities, but I must say, academic study of religion is not religion. You can't say a map is territory. A map simply gives you an idea about the territory that you might see in the real life. Academic study of religion is also like studying a map. Not knowing the people, not knowing the community, and not appreciating the experience of the community. Since 9/11, there has been a thorough transformation of Muslim communities in North America. Pleasantly, I would say, quite promising. But not at all levels of the promise. As you know, communities are generally anti-intellectual, and they don't appreciate what the battleground is like in the academia. As I say, it's a study of map. You are not studying real people. You are studying books and articles and trying to gauge from the books and the articles the people who are represented in that discourse, that is academic discourse. I've chosen a topic tonight And I think that I will tell Abdulaziz, my namesake, that if he remains the president of the oil for the next 4 years, then I'm coming for the next 4 years. Because the topic is not going to finish in one Muharram. As I realized in Tehran, every year there was a demand to go back to the topic that was unfinished in that year. As you know, the time of Muharram is also, in my opinion, a great time for self-introspection. Religion is more than rituals. Religion is not only praxis. Religion is a challenge to become different. And you cannot become different if you don't challenge yourself critically. Marx used to say, religion is where criticism should begin. Other philosophers disagreed with him. But they were all agreed in one thing, that in modern times, if something is under scrutiny, it is human faith. That which is being challenged every day, whether at workplace or right in your homes, is your commitment to religion. Your spouse might do it, your children might challenge you what you believe in. Modernity means to accept the challenge of rational inquiry. I must say, you and I read the Quran, and it's a very ritualistic reading of the Quran. To read the Quran, you need to contextualize the Quran in the culture of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no other way of understanding the Quran. Western scholars of the Quran have criticized the book as being non-thematic, multi-thematic. There are so many issues being raised in the Quran, and no issue is treated to its complete. You and I are supposed to complete it as we read it. The Quran came for you and me. But it uses the way it uses what I call the moral psychology of prompting you to think of how better you can become. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. I think this German Orientalist Angelica Newith is right when she says that of all the books in the Abrahamic traditions, it is the Quran that says it has come to challenge the status quo. Do you understand this? You and I like status quo. We don't want to change anything. If somebody rocks our boat of stability, you and I are disturbed. We can't handle it anymore because it creates a crisis. Crisis of identity, crisis of understanding what I am as a Muslim man or a woman. There's a crisis. You and I shy away from the crisis, thinking that we will create even more controversy. We shun controversy because that's not a good sign. Controversy challenges you to think. Regular tradition doesn't do it. Therefore, you and I like tradition. Even in this group of the intellectuals in oil, I regard you as highly intellectualized people who come to attend these majlises, which are not usual lectures. Look at this. Who uses this in the majlis anymore, right? This is for the university. The reason I am using this in front of you so that you can see it and internalize the topic. I don't want you to go empty-handed. I would defeat my purpose if I do it. I can do very easily, I can open the book and read a proper traditional majlis, and you can cry and go home. बहुत सारी मजलिस रहती है, वो हम करें वो. Yeah, that's how we evaluate the majlis. Majlis depends on gham karo. No, majlis depends upon burning your heart for Imam Hussein. Majlis means to burn your heart for Bibi Zainab and stop being hypocritical. Hypocrisy is the modern disease that plagues all religious communities. Look at the other search, look at the subtitle of the talks, In Search of the Virtue Ethics. Virtue ethics. In search of fazilat, fazail, merits. How do I describe a good human being? How do I describe a good fellow human being? How do I describe another human being who doesn't behave well, who is so vicious? In the events of Ashura, what Imam Hussein has done for you and me is, please listen carefully. He has unmasked our hypocrisy. That's why Imam Hussein is remembered every year. Whether you like it or not, Imam Hussein will be remembered every year. There is no year when he will not be remembered. Even if you all decide we don't want these majlises anymore, Imam Hussein will be remembered. Because his function was to unveil the hypocrisy of Banu Umayyah. Unveil the hypocrisy of the Muslims. Move and shake the conscience of Islam. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it's easy to claim, I'm my Azhar daughter Hussein. Yeah? Civil society is the core of your and my existence. You and I are related, not in blood, but in essence of being members of the human community. You and I cherish relationships. Don't pretend to love me. I don't love you if you pretend it. I know it. I can read your eyes when you say, I love you, and I know you don't love me. Don't do that. Civil society is based on the understanding of my human dignity. I respect your dignity, you respect my dignity. Don't take away anybody's dignity. A woman's first right is to be considered a human person. Don't regard a human less than a human being, a woman less than a human. Then you will hurt her. Don't pretend that you stand for the rights of the women when you don't believe in it. Don't pretend. You are going to build trust in a civil society. And the Quran is going to lay down the foundation for you and me. And that foundation is going to be the source of civilization. Civilization began with Adam and Eve. The only two, man and woman. And the Quran is so powerful about it. It says quite clearly, unlike what the Hebrew Bible says. Man and woman were created from the same soul. Woman was not created from the rib of Adam. Therefore, one rib is missing in a man. That's a nonsense. The Quran rejects it outright. Said, no, come on, don't talk this nonsense. Men and women are equally created from the same womb. In fact, woman is even higher than man. Because in civilization, she is the one who produced and produced and produced humanity. She is the one who is at the center of all relationship. Remove a woman from the house, there is no relationship left. Try to do that. Put down your woman in the house. To kainati. That's the way we deal with her. That's how the traditional families used to deal with the woman. Like a chattel. Like an animal. Which is recorded in the history. You don't have to go far away, you just have to go and study ethnographical studies in the world which are dealing with women's position in the culture. You are going to build a civilization. And the Quran is going to challenge you with a very different metaphor. You will be surprised what the Quran is doing. You and I don't know the Quran at all. I challenge you. With all the things that you do, you and I are following the Quran the way it was handed down by the Mufassirin. Ibn Kathir, Ibn Fulan, Tabari, Allama Tabatabai. You and I do not even think about the Quran. Well, I'm going to tell you something. That the Quran is going to complain against you and me. Yasin Paravavara. Fatiha Paravavara. That's what we have done with the Quran. Our marhumin will be all saved by our recitation of Yasin. Wait a minute. You better read Yasin for your own self. Don't read for the dead ones. They don't need it. They want to recite it themselves. You don't recite the Quran for the dead ones. You recite the Quran for the living ones. And the living ones are the ones who are going to learn from the Quran. What will they learn? Civilization. Today, in the universities, there's a battleground. My dear Yunus, I saw his article in Forbes. He sent it to me about the new nationalism in Iran. And the kind of national identity, because Iranians are not only ethnocentric, but they're extremely Aryan in their thinking. They're more powerful in their nationalism than the Arabs are. And today, the questions of reference to the national identity are changing everywhere. Don't you see? With Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton coming as the candidates of the United States of American presidency, everything is changing. You will not believe the kind of crisis that has been generated by one man's illogical discourse about other human beings. How many more should we see in our part of the world? Yunus has done a good job of understanding why youths are not looking at the sources of national identity in Iran the way they used to look and the way the government looks at it. There's an upheaval. Human beings need to be challenged. You want to teach your children how to be smart in the class? No, it's not the A score that they bring at home that you think they are smart. That's not the way to assess your children's development. The child psychologists are saying that the moment you begin to challenge your child answers back. Says, Mom, I will not do this. Pa, I will not do this. Why are you doing this? I'm not coming to the majlis anymore. Haven't you heard this? I'm not coming to this Quranic session that you are going to. They reject every tradition that you uphold as holy and sacred. There's one thing that is missing. The connection that you should draw with your child. And the connection is not only you obey and I'm the one to be obeyed. It doesn't work that way. Try to do that, and you'll ruin your child. Your child, like you, need a space. Karbala, of all the places that you have ritualized so much, then now when you go to Karbala, now people are going to Karbala, by the way, they want to do Arba'in, they want to walk between Karbala and Najaf and all these things, the new rituals that have taken very strong roots. People are asking me in Iran, people are asking me in Iraq, شو معنى هذا? Why are they walking? You and I think this is allowed to walk. Yes, quite a few are going to do that, by the way. We don't realize that Zainab al-Kubra did not walk. She was on the camel. She traveled from Damascus to Karbala, back to go to Medina on camel. You want to imagine if Zainab, the first year passed, and maybe Zainab remembered, last year my brother was here. Today he's not here. Yunadin, Ya Zainab. Imam Hussein is trying to convey that you are crying for me, Zainab. You remember me, Zainab. Day and night you remember me. Day and night you feel that you are all alone by yourself. This is Zainab. Do you imagine how lonely was Bibi Zainab on the way to Karbala, on the way to Medina, on the way to Sham, to Damascus, how alone she was, how lonely she was? You know, women give up very easily, more easily than men do. Under difficult circumstances, we feel the pinch of having lost a brother. You know, as men, we have ways of negotiating that pain and suffering of separation. Ask women. You travel for more than 3 days and your wife complains. Haven't you heard? She's not complaining without reason. The Sharia said, yes, a husband cannot travel without the permission of his wife more than 3 days. Yes. Did you know that this is your right? To ask your husband, who travels very often, and says, I have my work to do. I don't know what kind of work you're doing. I have no idea. I'm willing to cooperate, but you must also be willing to see what are my needs as a wife, as a spouse. Look at this situation that we have created. This is man's world. It's a dominant world of domination. We don't care for other human beings' feelings. What civilization is teaching us today is that individual men and women are both autonomous, but I'm asking a very, very frank question. What does this autonomy do for you? You still need people. You still need relations. You still need connections. When you study this, then you come to understand there's a search for virtues. Now go to the next one. I don't think people choose this verse of the Quran to talk in the Muharram. Oh, this is too complicated. What is this? Oh my God, this is very difficult. What has B to do with me and my civilization and my culture and my relationships? Do you see what we are asking? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim ila an-Nahl. أوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذ بيوتا من الجبال من الشجر ومما يعرشون. See the translation. Look at this beauty of the Quran. And I want you to remember that the Meccans were very cynical about the Prophet. They did not accept him. They rejected him outright. They could not believe that this ordinary human being, why didn't God choose someone big name among us to make him a prophet and speak this language? This is Surah Al-Nahl, by the way. This is Surah Al-Makkiyah. It is Meccan Surah. So remember, the cultural context of the Surah Al-Nahl is the people of Makkah. And the people of Makkah have not accepted Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If they had accepted, the battle was over. They have not accepted him. They're cynical about his claims. God speaks to him. Which God is he talking about? Is he talking about Ar-Rahman or Allah? Who is he talking about? Ar-Rahman, we don't know who is this Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman is for the southern tribes of Arabia. The Sheba, the queen of Sheba, that part, the Yemen. They are the ones who talk about Rahman, the most merciful God. But we in Mecca, we are very proud. Ahl Mecca, Ahl Sachedina. They have big necks. We will accept this Muhammad, orphan boy who has no status whatsoever. Look at the metaphor that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being told to declare. أوحى ربك إلى النحل. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent his revelation to the bee. Make hives in the mountains and in the trees in what they build. Then eat of all fruits and walk in the ways of your Lord humbly. وَاسْلُكِ فِي سُبُلِ رَبِّكَ ذُلُلًا. Bow down and walk, because God has blessed you with so much. Roshan Bhai can tell me 90 years of blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 90 years. There were times in East Africa, 44 was the limit. 50, oh, Bojivio. Oh, that was big. Now we reach 90, we might reach 100. Who knows? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam Zain al-Abidin in his dua says, Ya Allah, increase my age, but in your service, Ya Allah. In your service. This is what Imam Zain al-Abidin is praying for. In other words, you and I, we become too materialistically oriented. Our materialism has somehow actually interrupted our roots. These days we hear about our imams, we hear about this. This is an unbelievable story. You know how we move our heads as a secular head. This is not impossible, this is not possible. Because it didn't happen to you, it's not possible. If it happened to you, it's possible. Right? And I'll tell you, I don't shy away from relating miracles to you. I will not shy away. Unless I deny my own identity. I say I'm not a human being. I cannot experience miracle. That's impossible. No, I don't see that impossibility. I need to prepare myself in order for me to receive it. If I cannot receive it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's a problem with me, not with the miracle itself. Right? We'll talk a lot about it. Now comes the heart of the metaphor. There comes forth from within it a beverage of many colors. مختلف ألوانها. فيه شفاء للناس, in which there is healing for human beings. It's talking about honey. It's talking about shahad, honey. That you and it, we do, I think, it has become more common to eat now, but there were times we had allergies about honey and we could not eat honey and all of those things, you know. But here the Quran says, فِيهِ شِفَاءٌ لِلنَّاسِ. There's healing for human being. Most surely there is a sign in this for a people who reflect. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ آيَةً لِلْمُتَفَكِّرِينَ. My question is, and Allama Tabatabai is helping me a lot, by the way. Allama, with all due respect to different tafsir that I have read, and I still read and I still try to ponder about it, because I'm not going to reject the tradition, I'm going to select the tradition. Do you understand what I'm doing? I'm not there to say the tradition doesn't exist. I'm simply saying to you that all tradition cannot be accepted blindly. We need to think about it. We need to ponder about its relevance. My question is, if Allah wants to speak about civilization, if Allah wants to speak about civil society, why should He use a bee to teach us human beings who are so proud and haughty in our behavior? The Quran says, في أكثر شيء جدلا. This human being constantly is arguing. That's how we are described in the Quran. These human beings are constantly arguing. It has become part of their inherent nature to argue. Some people, they love arguments. And the Quran says, okay, they're arguing. But there are times when you stop arguing and start acting. That's the time we are looking for. But my question to you is, brothers and sisters, be honest. If I told you this verse of the Quran in Surah Al-Nahl, in ayah 68, 69, is talking about human civilization, would you believe me? You will look at me and say, what do you mean? We're being compared by the bee, with a bee, with this small insect. What does that bee do? What civilization has a bee created? And Allah Ta'ala says that in the bee, there is madaniyah, there is civility. They have divided labors, they have organization, they are orderly. If you open the beehive, you see the queen sitting there, receiving all the servants and giving commands. And they come and they bring in the honey from different flowers that they have sucked. And they come in, and that kind of organization is amazing. Beehive is amazing. Farsi I'm doing it now. It's amazing what the bees are doing. This small insect. You went to East Africa, you went to Ngorongoro crater, you went to many places, and there were signs of God in those places. But you and I mostly came empty-handed. There's a big pride. There's no element of philosophy there. There's no element of metaphysics there. Why did you go tourism? Why does God say, go